Interesting was that because of its shape, the clarinet has acoustical problems of a cylindrical pipe, not like other woodwinds which are conical. So what happens is when it's overblown using the register key, it overblows at an interval of 12. So, and this isn't a problem on conical instruments because they overblow in octaves, and that makes tuning easier because the fingering is the same. When clarinet manufacturers make clarinets, they can't have one note in tune, perfectly in tune, because, for example, like an F5, like right in tune would make the 12th above a C6 really sharp. So they find this middle ground and they tune both of them to that, and they leave it up to the instrumentalist to compensate. And this isn't just a problem in like student grade clarinets. They all have this problem just because of the way it's made. And a good clarinet is one where these discrepancies are minimal and adjustable. So knowing that these tuning discrepancies are built in, there's a few tuning techniques I want to go over. First, you want to tune the throat tones, and it's important to tune those first because those are the notes with variable pitch and little resistance, and those can be tuned by pulling out the barrel and then the bell. When I say resistance, I mean how much air pressure you're putting into the instrument, like action on the string instrument, how much pressure you're putting down on the string. So you can compare it to that. What they do is they make these little washer type things called tuning rings, and those can be found at most music stores. From what I understand, they're not used commonly at the high school, like middle school level, but I know professionals, college students use them, and they look, I mean, they're like washers, you know. And you put them in between the barrel and the top joint, and they extend the length of the instrument. So it makes tuning the throat tones easier. So this covers tuning the instrument with itself, but there's the whole issue of tuning with an ensemble. And you want to be able to tune more on the fly when you're working with an ensemble. So an approach to that is doing embouchure tuning. And what that involves is tightening the lips around the reed and the mouthpiece, which sharpens it a bit. You don't have much room to sharpen as much as you do to flatten. So you can drop the jaw and that'll flatten the pitch a bit. And yeah, because most clarinetists put it for embouchure, and it's easier to flatten than sharpen lowering the pitch. It's pretty easy to lower as much as like a semitone. It's not very difficult. Another way to immediately tune is through air support. One thing that affects air support is, or one thing that affects tuning is air support and air speed. And again, resistance across the instrument varies, and it's important to know where firmer air support is required. So that's on the handout. Let's see. The throat tones have little resistance, and notes from B4 to F5 are dense. G5 to C6, there's moderate resistance, but it's most important to know that in the throat tones, they have little resistance, so you need to play them with firm air pressure, especially like with legato passages. To keep a nice clean tone, you want to have good air support. For more fine, precise tuning, there's fingerings that can be altered, stuff that you just do with your hands. It means like adding keys or half holing, where your finger covers only part of the hole, which flattens the pitch. Or alternately, you can cover more holes, or you can cover holes more tightly. There's also cross fingering, or using fingerings that facilitate chromatic passage over register breaks. One thing that I read that was really interesting was that there's something to be said for playing a note slightly out of tune as a means of making a melody more effective. Again, this is like more higher level stuff, but I'm sure going into teaching, we're not going to use this too much. But for example, leading tones go into the tonic should be sharper than equal temperament allows. So, really, I think the best approach to tuning is just having a good ear, just ear training, and being able to make those adjustments on the fly. Any questions?
Yeah, can you repeat the part about the density, the range of the density on the notes?
Yeah, let's see, B4 to B5, those are dense notes, and G5 to C6 have moderate resistance. And it's most important to note that in the throat tones, you want to have good, solid voice.
Lorenzo? In the beginning, you said that the things that affect the tuning of changes in temperature,
Mhm.
instrument inconsistencies, and what were there were a couple of others.
Changes in temperature and humidity, bad reads, but that's more of not a direct